What's up, everybody? It's your boy Nick here, and welcome back to Nick Picks Countdown to 30 Special. If you watched the last episode, you may have heard that my allergies were messing with me, and even still to this day, they are touch and go. I don't know what's been going on with the weather here in California, but I don't know. So much wind, so much rain. I'm over it. But anyway, you might hear a little coughing here and there. Nevertheless, the show must go on. All right, so we're gonna just jump right back into the charts. I'll give you a little background if you have not watched the first episode. We'll cover all that. So let's just get going. Okay. Got the All right, we got the PowerPoint set up. Now, if you did not watch episode 1, throughout this year or the remainder of the year, we're going to be looking back at some of the biggest music charts that defined the music of 1996. This will include genre charts, soundtrack charts, and of course the year-end charts. Later this year, I will present 2 big music countdowns. First one coming up in July, the top soundtrack singles of 1996. This is songs that were featured in the movies that debuted in 96. Also the end of 1995 as well, that will count. And then at the end of the year, and this whole series will culminate into my personal top 100 of 1996. That will be at the end of this year, close to my birthday. All right, so let's continue where we left off. We're going to look at the top Billboard R&B albums of 1996. Number 10, 1999, Eternal, Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. Very good rap group. You may be familiar with music such as Thuggish Ruggish Bone, First of the Month, Look Into My Eyes, and the hit single from this soundtrack, The Crossroads. We'll be talking about that later. Um, Very fitting album, as I think this was around the time that people started having talks about the millennium coming up. I know Scream was talking about it. Bone Thugs was talking about it. People were already starting to like look ahead, get ready, because 2000 was only a few short years away. So I think that was the background behind that album. Um, okay, number 9, Secrets from Tony Braxton. Um, Very popular R&B artist of the 90s. Uh, Familiar or well known for hits like Another Sad Love Song, but this album, I believe, was her breakthrough hit. It featured hits such as You're Making Me High, and of course the very powerful Unbreak My Heart. Um, Popped up on a few charts in 96, but it would take over the charts in 1997. So we'll talk a little bit about Unbreak My Heart, but not too much. Um, and then Tony Braxton, coming off of the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack, and had a big hit that carried over into 1996, Let It Flow. I had to listen to that song a couple times to kind of get into the groove, and it actually really good. It's a really good song. Um, Number 8, The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory from Maxwell, another famous R&B artist. Not familiar with as much songs from Maxwell, but I know I've seen his name around. I think he did a song for there was this movie called Life with Martin Lawrence, and I think Eddie Murphy was in that movie too. Anyway, well-known R&B artist. Number 7, Daydream from Mariah Carey. The audacity, the crime that Daydream scored so low on this chart, because it honestly was one of the breakthrough. Yeah, this actually was her breakthrough album. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I know a lot of people say The Emancipation of Mimi was her best album. Even Glitter was her best album. Um, but it was Daydream for me. I think Daydream killed it. I think it should have won Grammys, and it didn't. Um, I think it should have scored higher on this chart. Honestly, it had so many good hits from this album. Fantasy, obviously, Always Be My Baby, Forever, just so many. Okay. Um, Number 6, Keith Sweat from Keith Sweat. Um, Another big R&B artist I'm familiar with. One of my favorite songs from him was "I'll Give All My Love to You." That was from the 1990 or whatever. But so this album consisted of the top chart, the the big hit, Twisted. That was one of the biggest songs of the summer of that year. So really good. Number 5, It Was Written from Nas. I believe this might have been his first album, if not one of his very first albums. Um, he would go on later to release some awesome hits. Um, one of I think his best album came from another great year, 2006. Hip Hop is Dead. That was my favorite Nas album, and he would go on to do so many more. Just picked up some Grammy nominations a couple of years ago. What was it, King's Paradise or something like that? King's something. God's Kingdom or something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't quote me on that. I just know he had Grammy nominations in recent years. So, but the big hit from this album was Street Dreams. Also, If I Ruled the World, I forgot about that song. That features Lauryn Hill, the Lauryn Hill. So this was a really good album. Okay. Number 4, R. Kelly. R. Kelly. I know many of you are familiar with that name and that background. This was obviously before he went loony, went crazy, or maybe he was already doing this. I don't know. I believe this was at the time I think he was with Aaliyah at this time. So, but you already know he had a few hits. Not gonna lie. And then at the end of '96, he would be featured on the Space Jam soundtrack and would produce one of the biggest songs from the Space Jam soundtrack, I Believe I Can Fly. That would carry over onto the 1997 charts. So probably only talk about it during the soundtrack countdown. So okay, so here are the top 3 Billboard R&B albums of 1996. In third place, we have Tupac, All Eyes on Me. Give it up for Tupac, y'all. This very bittersweet year for him as he was tragically taken from us in September of '96. Um, and this album was released shortly before his death. Had such great hits, including All Eyes on Me, uh, How Do You Want It, and was Ambitions of a Writer on this one? Ambitions as a Writer? I think that might have been on this one. Not sure. Oh, Rather Be Your N Word and all that. So many good hits. I don't think California Love was on this album. Um, I think it would be it was like mainly a single, and then it would go on. I think Tupac released the greatest hits at the end of '98 and put the radio version that you hear all the time. He put that on there, and he put Changes on there. We'll be talking more about Tupac later on, but in second place, the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. And I've talked about this a little bit. Came out at the very end of '95, so a lot of people would be going to see this movie in '96. And the soundtrack would carry over so many good hits. I didn't even realize what the Whitney Houston, the Mary J. Blige, and Brandy, and Tony Braxton, Faith Evans, Aretha Franklin, Chaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, SWV, TLC, and CC Winans, and so many more. This was probably one of the best soundtracks of the decade. Although I think Space Jam would surpass that. Not gonna lie, I'm very biased about that. But very good album. There are some good hits. You need to listen um, to this album, and you can check out the movie too if you wish. It was a good movie. Some funny moments in there. It's a love movie. The top Billboard R&B album of 1996 is The Fugees. The score. I want to say Fugees or Fugees. I think it's Fugees. Um, the score featuring the Fugees. Fugees consist of Lauryn Hill and Wyclef. I keep forgetting the other guy. I'm sorry, but in fact, let me look this up real quick. I'm gonna get this right. He's gonna get recognition on this presentation. Praz. Praz Michelle. So Lauryn Hill, Wyclef, and Pras consisted of the Fugees, or came together to form the Fugees. Their breakthrough hit, Killing Me Softly and Ready or Not, and Fujila, all culminated on the score soundtrack, would go on to receive many nominations for the Grammys, Video Music Awards. Killing Me Softly ended up being one of the best songs of the decade. So, really good song. And mom has told me stories that she was listening to this album while I was in her belly. So she would always sing Killing Me Softly to her belly, to me in her belly. So okay, now let's look at the Billboard Hot R&B Singles of 1996. Number 10, Touch Me, Tease Me, Case featuring Foxy Brown. I've heard their names before, not really familiar with their music. Number 9, we have a tie, Before You Walk Out of My Life, and Like This and Like That from Monica, one of the greatest R&B artists, female R&B artists of the decade. Monica, her breakthrough year was in 1995 with Just One of Them Days. Would go on to record the one of the greatest R&B songs of the 90s, "The Boy Is Mine," and later do the cover of "Angel of Mine" to wrap up the decade. Um, Beautiful, amazing, and she was only like 18 at the time or something. Like she was only young, or she was very young. Um, Number 8, "Sitting Up in My Room" by Brandy from the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. I love this song. I love it so much. Um, in fact, never mind. I was gonna show you, but I have a cassette of the "Sitting Up in My Room" single. Um, Got give it up for Brandy. Okay. Number 7, "Only You," 112 featuring the Notorious B.I.G. 112 is another R&B group, boy band, if you will. Had some good hits and would go on the following year, 1997, to release one of the biggest hits of the year, "Cupid," and to this day I still listen to this song. Um, Also was featured in the "I'll Be Missing You" collaboration for Biggie. And then would go on into the 2000s and do some hits like "Peaches and Cream," "Dance with Me." I love that song. That's my favorite one. And "Cupid." Um, so they've been busy. And then, of course, the Notorious B.I.G., one of the hip hop legends, sadly would pass the following year, 1997. So great collab, really good collab. I believe this is the remix, the Bad Boy remix, because Puffy was on this one. Okay, number 6, we have another tie. "How Do You Want It" and "California Love" from Tupac. "How Do You Want It" was features Casey and JoJo. They would go later on to release "All My Life" and some other hits. Um, if I'm correct, I believe Casey and JoJo were part of the group Jodeci. Yeah, I believe they're from that group, if I'm correct. Which Jodeci also released some really good R&B songs from that decade. "California Love" features the great Dr. Dre. Very good collab. Came out at the end of 95 and it hit mainstream. It was top of the charts all year long. So good for them. Number 5, "Twisted" from Keith Sweat. We talked a little bit about this. "Down Low," "Nobody Has to Know," R. Kelly featuring Ronald Isley. And see, look, the signs were there already. R. Kelly, like, I don't know. I don't know. Lord help that child. Okay, here are the top 3 Billboard Hot R&B Singles of the year. Number 3 is "The Crossroads" from Bone Thugs and Harmony. Beautiful, beautiful song, a little bittersweet song. Was written as a tribute to the late and great Eazy-E from NWA. Um, Beautiful song. Second place goes to all what is it? "All the Things Your Man Won't Do" from Joe. I think that's the name of the album right there, by the way. But the song is called "All the Things Your Man Won't Do." From the "Don't Be a Menace" soundtrack. Um, Beautiful song, beautiful. Joe does a couple. There's a couple songs from Joe that I know that I like, including "I Want to Know," um, and the collaboration with Mariah Carey. "Thank God I Found You," and so many others. All right, and the top Billboard Hot R&B single of 1996 is Tony Braxton. "You're Making Me High." Beautiful little bop right there. Um, but we also have a tie for first place. It is also "Let It Flow" from Tony Braxton. This was featured on the "Waiting to Exhale" soundtrack. So both top contenders, but if I had to pick one, it was obviously going to be "You're Making Me High." So okay. Oh boy. Now we have the top Billboard Hot R&B singles sales from 1996. Now, if you know, once albums are dropped, singles are released, and so this chart is going based on how the singles did in sales. So, whichever singles made the most money got top charts. Number 10, "Kissing You" from Total, girl R&B group. They would later go on to do "What About Us" from the Soul Food soundtrack. That would be the following year, 97. Number 9, "Loungin" from LL Cool J. For some reason, this song I can't really get on. Like, I don't know. I heard it and I was just like, whatever. But LL Cool J, come on, he's a hip hop pioneer. He um he got the ball running with hip hop in the 80s. Like, I think he I think he turned hip hop into pop. Oh, not pop, but like he made hip hop become popular music. So mainstream, if you will. Number 7, "One Sweet Day," Mariah Carey and Boys to Men. How did I forget to mention this song when we were talking about Daydream? This was an iconic song, easily one of the top songs of 96, and would go on to be one of the top songs of the decade. Um, Beautiful collaboration, Mariah Carey and Boys to Men. If you know anything about Boys to Men, they are one of the greatest uh, R&B boy bands of the decade. Even to this day, they're still out there performing. Number 6, "You're Making Me High," and "Let It Flow" from Tony Braxton. I've already talked about that. Number 5, "Only You," 112 featuring the Notorious B.I.G., and we've already talked about that too. And number 4, "Down Low," "Nobody Has to Know," R. Kelly featuring Ronald Isley. Already talked about that. So, which 3 R&B singles produced the most cash? Number 3 was "Twisted" from Keith Sweat. Like I said, it was one of the hottest songs of the summer. Number 2, Bone Thugs and Harmony, "The Crossroads." All right, I'll give it to you there. I mean, yeah, I'm giving it to you because that was a good song. And the top Billboard Hot R&B single sales, or the top Billboard Hot R&B single that produced the most profit in 96 was Tupac, "How Do You Want It," featuring Casey and JoJo. Very nice. As well as Tupac's "California Love" featuring Dr. Dre. Very nice. And I think the sales boosted once Tupac had passed. So they, you know, everyone went to go buy the singles. Okay. Uh what's this one? Oh, okay, I forgot to change this title, but this is the Billboard Hot R&B Singles Airplay. So now we're going based off of the songs that spent the most time on the radio. Number 10, "Touch Me, Tease Me," Case featuring Foxy Brown. We talked a little bit about that. Number 9, "Not Gon' Cry," Mary J. Blige. We haven't talked about this yet. Oh, I might have a little bit, but this was from the "Waiting to Exhale" soundtrack. Um, I had to listen to this song a little bit just to kind of get in the groove, but it's a really good song. Mary J. Blige, come on now. Um, had a few hit singles in the 90s, but I think once the early 2000s came around, then the hits were flying. And I think the following year was when she released I Can Love You." That was one of her biggest hits that of the decade. And Real Love, of course. We can't forget Real Love. Number 8, Sitting Up in My Room from Brandy. Number 7, Why I Love You So Much from Monica. I still gotta listen to this song. I haven't really listened to this song yet. Get down. That's my cat. That means I have to get closer. Don't worry, she's okay. uh, remember, cats land on their feet, and she sure did. Number 6, I Can't Sleep Baby If I from R. Kelly. Yeah, these songs are just dropping hints themselves. Number 5, Killing Me Softly from the Fugees. Like I said, beautiful song. Number 4, Lady from D'Angelo. Um, the late and great D'Angelo, may he rest in peace. We just lost him this past year, 2025. Um, really good R&B songs. I believe this was the year that Brown Sugar came out. Um, I listened to it a little bit. It was okay. D'Angelo did do a song for Space Jam, and that one was good. That was a good song. And then would go on to do the very infamous single "How Does It Feel" in 2000, end of '99 or very beginning of 2000, where he bared it all in the video. So, okay, the top 3 Billboard Hot R&B singles from the radio. Number 3, R. Kelly, Down Low, Nobody Has to Know. Number 2, Tony Braxton, You're Making Me High. And the top song was Joe, All the Things Your Man Won't Do. Beautiful song. Very beautiful song. Well deserved. Okay, so that's the R&B songs. Now we're going to talk about the rap songs. Sorry. So, moving on. These are the Billboard Hot Rap singles of the year. Number 10, Hey Lover, LL Cool J. This song also features Boys to Men in the chorus. It's a good song, a little slow jam right there. Number 9, Po Pimp, Do or Die featuring Twista. I know I've seen Twista's name before, had to have somewhere. Number 8, Woo-Ha, Got You All in Check, and Everything Remains Raw from Busta Rhymes. Yes, the Busta Rhymes, the rapper himself. I believe this is his breakthrough year. Would go on to do more hits, including Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. That would be his next big hit. Number 7, Come On and Ride It, The Train from Quad City DJs. Well-known group from the 90s, and would go on to be a part of the Space Jam soundtrack and create the very infamous song, the title track for the movie. So beautiful. Number 6, Elevators, Me and You, Outkast. I only heard like one song from Outkast from the 90s. It was Southern Playalistic, Cadillac Music. That was a good song. That's one of my favorite Outkast songs, featuring Andre 3000 and Big Boy. Um, really good, really good. I haven't heard this one though. Elevators. I gotta go listen to this one. Number 5, Keep On Keeping On, MC Light featuring Escape. Um, MC Light, a very talented female rapper. So is Escape. They are a R&B girl group that features Candy Burris and Tiny and the rest. Sorry, I forgot the names. Tiny as in T.I.'s wife. I believe they're still together, if they are. And then number 4, Get Money, Junior Mafia featuring the Notorious B.I.G. I feel like I've heard this song. I can't remember, but okay. The top 3 Billboard Hot Rap singles of the year. Number 3 is LL Cool J, uh, "Loungin'," which I'm concerned. I'm shocked, but okay. What can we do? Number 2, The Crossroads, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Okay, we like what we see. The top Billboard Hot Rap single of the year, How Do You Want It, from Tupac featuring Casey and JoJo, as well as Tupac's California Love featuring Dr. Dre. No surprise that Tupac takes the top of the rap charts for obvious reasons, you know. That's all for this episode. On the next Countdown to 30, we'll be looking at Billboard's Adult Contemporary charts from 96, Billboard's Adult Top 40 charts from 96. We're going to begin looking at the soundtracks of the year and Billboard's Modern Rock tracks of 96. And still to come, we're getting closer to naming Billboard's Hot 100 Songs of the Year. That will be coming up in June. We will also be looking at the top 100 soundtrack songs of 96, and that will be coming in July. And still to come, MTV's top 100 list of the year, VH1's top songs of the year, as well as Z100's top 100 of the year, that formerly later known as iHeartRadio. And that's a wrap. All right, well, that's another episode of Nick's Countdown to 30 special. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be posting more as we go. Also, big news. I meant to advertise this, but I have some Big Brother news. The 28th season of Big Brother has been announced. It will be starting on July 9th. That's a Thursday. We will be back for the big premiere. Don't know if I'm gonna do I don't think I'll do a premiere countdown. What will probably happen is we're gonna do the cast. We'll do the cast reveal. We're gonna do a cast reveal video. That might drop the day before the premiere, or I might record it early as soon as I find out the cast. We'll get it taken care of, and then we'll get it released on the day of. We'll release it before the premiere, just depending on how things go, how timing goes. But yeah, the Big Brother 28 is on the way, which means, okay, so if that's the 9th, then probably first Big Brother recap will fall somewhere in the middle, but the first recap will likely be on the 17th of July. So just be ready for that. So keep listening for more Big Brother news. In the meantime, I will see you on the next episode of Nick's Countdown to 30. See y'all later.